Another quick and useful tip from Camera Campus. I did a shoot last week where I was pretending to be a hurt construction worker. And I'd done this concept before in a more of a construction type of environment, and this time I wanted to do the same concept except on a white seamless so I could isolate the subject. So here I am sitting down. This particular image happens to be my favorite as far as facial expression and pose goes. Problem is I severed the top of my head off, or the top of the hard hat rather, off. So what I need to do is find an image I can grab the top of the hard hat on and then comp it onto this particular image. The easiest way to do this would be to find an image in the same set that's close to the same time frame as that particular image was taken. Reason being that your color and your lighting and all that is going to be closer and just make the comp that much easier. Problem is here, all the ones that are in the same area, either I continued to cut the head off or the hat is looking in a totally different direction. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier to change size and tone of the hat as opposed to trying to change which direction the hat is looking in. So what I did was I came further down in the set and ended up finding this image right here where the hat is actually looking in the same direction. All I need to do is change the size and possibly the tones of it. First thing I do is in Lightroom try to get the images themselves as close to as possible in tone and color and whatnot before I go over into Photoshop, just because it's quicker and faster for me. Then I take both of the images over into Photoshop. We're going to start with this image right here. We're going to press C to go to the crop tool, and we are going to start outside of the picture. Click and drag all the way across to the other side of the picture. Alright, that'll select the entire thing with the crop tool, and then we will come up to this corner here, shift drag just slightly up to give us enough space to add the top of the hard hat in. By clicking enter now, or return, what I'm doing is automatically adding space to my canvas, and it's going to add it in the color that you've selected as your background color. Alright, now I come back over to this picture here, I grab my marquee tool, click the M button to grab the marquee tool and just a quick selection over the head. And a quick tip here, if you press the space bar while you still have the mouse clicked, you can now move that square around, and then as soon as you let go of the space bar, you're back to adjusting the size. So there we go, we have that selected. Now we press, with the background layer selected, we press Command J, Control J, and that is going to duplicate that selection up onto its own layer. Now we're going to press V for the move tool, grab it and drag it over to the other picture. We already know it's going to be smaller. That's okay. Command or Control plus sign to zoom in quickly and get us up here to where we want to be. I am going to make sure that this layer is selected. Command T and lower my opacity down to about 50% so I can see both layers that I'm working on. Command T brings up the free transform tool. And first thing I'm going to do is shift drag on the top of the bounding box here to get me closer to the size I want to be at. Reposition. You can see that I'm getting closer, shift drag a little bit more, get myself closer. What I'm worried about here are the lines that are going to make this look believable. There's this line coming down, this line coming down, and then the ridge right here in the center of the helmet. I move outside the bounding box and I can now rotate slightly to get what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at the edge of this here and the length of it. And if I put it right about there, this line right here, I can tell that I'm fairly close as far as centering wise goes, and then I can shift drag up on this one to get me close to right there. Now I've got this line good, this line's pretty good, and this line's good. I am again going to get right there. And now I am going to come up here, click this, brings me into the warp tool. Now I'm out of the I am out of the actual free transform tool, and now I'm into the warp tool within the same transformation though. Now dragging these isn't going to change the size, it's going to change the shape, and you can actually click anywhere inside of this bounding box to change the shape of that particular area. I'm pretty darn good right here and pretty darn good here. The problem is that when I try to do my blending here, this will kind of end up looking messed up. So I'm just going to grab down here, pull over to right there, and now I've got a nice line there. And then the same thing over here, I'm going to grab in this area here and just pull it over until I'm in the same range line-wise. And that's it. That's all you have to do. We're going to click return/enter to commit that change. And now we're going to bring our opacity back up to 100%. I am going to alt-click on the Add a Layer Mask, which will give me a filled-in black one. I'm going to press B to bring up my brush tool, and you can see over here I have black and white selected. I actually want white to be my foreground color. I'm going to press D to make sure that I'm on my default black and white, and then it also brings my white up to my foreground color. Now when I paint with white on the mask, you can see that the mask layer is selected. It is going to bring in the extension of that hard hat. And right there we can carry slightly past here and slightly past here. Nice soft edge brush is going to blend that transition in very well. I'm going to zoom into 100% to take another look at it, and you can see I'm messing up my line there. I could bring it all the way down there, that works, or I could try and blend it up there, but actually I just clicked one more time there, so now technically my mask is revealing all this and then right up to about here and here. One last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a curves adjustment to this comp to try and bring up the darkness right there. I've added the curves adjustment layer. It's sitting above. In CS4 you can click this button here. That will clip it down so that it only shows on this layer. Or in previous versions you can press the Alt key and then hover between the two layers, and that will lock it down. Now everything you do in this curves adjustment will only affect the layer directly below. And I am just going to click in the middle here and then drag up slightly to right there. Now it's only affecting that one image. You can see what I've done just to try and blend it in with that other portion of the image. And that is it. That's the extent of this particular tutorial. I would have to go back in and deal with the particular logos that are in here, and then also I would deal with my particularly poor isolation. It's not that bad, but an easy fix if you can go back and look at one of the other tutorials I did on fixing poor isolation. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great one.